Hello everyone, my name is Lashonda Campbell and this is my data overview for the ICEC 7305 course. I will be completing my data on Crabapple Crossing Elementary School, which is a Fulton County School District in Milton, Georgia. The purpose of this data overview is to discuss the CCRPI scores for 3rd through 5th grade students for the past 3 years at Crabapple Crossing Elementary School. I will compare Crabapple Crossing's 3rd through 5th grade CCRPI results to Fulton County and the state of Georgia to determine strengths and weaknesses. I will review CCRPI overall performance data, review CCRPI single scores, review school enrollment data, review school demographic data, and discuss suggestions for next steps. I will also compare CCES, race, ethnicity to national, state, in Georgia. This is some general information about Crabapple Crossing Elementary School. Of course, the school name is Crabapple Crossing Elementary School. Our colors are blue and white. Our mascot is a colt. And our motto/vision is cultivating children of excellence. So first we will start with Crabapple Crossing Elementary School's enrollment data. On this side over here, these are the number of students that are enrolled in Crabapple Crossing Elementary School, and this will be the enrollment year. So as you see in green for 2014-15, we had 800 students that were enrolled at Crabapple Crossing. In 2015 to 2016, we had 838 students enrolled. In 2016 to 17, we had 800 students enrolled. And this year, which is 2017-18, we had 800 students enrolled. This number varies throughout the school year according to if we have students enrolled late or come to the school at a different time. This is Crabapple Crossing's Elementary School Performance Report from the CCRPI. And this is reading for 3rd and reading for 5th grade. And this data is compared to Fulton County as well as Georgia. Over here we have our level target percent, and down here we have the year. So these are students that are reading at or above the grade level target for 3rd grade. So as you see here in blue, for 2015, Crabapple Crossing had a score of 80.4%. And then in 2016, we had 85.3%. And for 2017, we had 89.3%. And every year, our scores increase. And compared to Fulton County had 59.4% in 2015. And they dropped in 2016 to 58.4. And it pretty much stayed stagnant in 2017 with 58.4. In Georgia, overall, they had a score of 51.6%, and then it dropped to 51%, and then as of 2017, it went up to 51.7. And these are 3rd grade targets. Over here on this side, we have the reading at or above the grade level target for 5th grade. And again, these are the level target percents on this side, and this is the year. So for 2015, Crabapple Crossing scored at an 88.1%. And then we moved to 93.9% in 2016. And in 2017, we moved to 99.2%. Fulton County, however, in 2015 went from 70.8% in 2015. In 2016, 73.7%. And in 2017, 80%. And their score increased as well as ours. In the state of Georgia, overall, in 2015, they scored at a 65.7%, and then they went up to 66.5%. And in 2017, they went to 75.7. So every year, Crabapple Crossing, Fulton County, and Georgia all had increases. But Crabapple Crossing was at the top of their target scores for the CCRPI for 3rd and 5th grade. Next, we will move on to the Crabapple Crossing Elementary School demographics. And over here, we have our percentage of students. And at the bottom here, we have student race and ethnicity. So we start with white, black, Asian, Hispanic or Latino, American, Indian, and Alaskan, and Hawaiian. So at the bottom, we're going to start with Crabapple Crossing Elementary School. And here we had students white. Of course, we have majority white students at our school. And next we have Asian, and then we have Hispanic or Latino, and then black. We have no students that are enrolled in our school that are American Indian and Alaskan or Hawaiian. For the school district, we have majority blacks in Fulton County. Then we have whites, and then there's Hispanic or Latino, and then there's Asian. And we have no American Indian and Alaskan or Hawaiian students that are in the school district of Fulton County. For the state of Georgia overall, we have majority white, and then we have black, and then we have Hispanic or Latino, and then Asian, and we have no American Indian and Alaskan or Hawaiian. And for national, according to the national demographics, we have majority white, then Hispanic or Latino, then black, then Asian, and we had, let's say, about 0.3% of American Indian and Alaskan overall in our nation. So as you can see, whites are generally, we have more whites overall in our for demographics. And at Crabapple Crossing for Georgia, the state of Georgia, and nationally, but blacks there overall, we do have an overall percentage of blacks in our school district for Fulton County. Crabapple Crossing Elementary School demographics, additional subgroups. So at Crabapple Crossing, these are our free and reduced price lunch, English language learners, and our students with disabilities. And at Crabapple Crossing, we have about 3% of students who receive free or reduced lunch, and 97% that does not receive free or reduced lunch. For our English language learners, we have about 7% students that we have that are English language learners, and about 93% that are not. For students with disability, we have 6% students at Crabapple Crossing that have disabilities, and 94% that do not. This is the CCRPI achievement levels, and for English language arts achievement levels, down at the bottom here, we have distinguished learners, proficient learners, developing learners, and beginning learners. And up here at the top, we have our students with disability, English language learners, economically disadvantaged, white, multiracial, Hispanic, Asian, Pacific Islander. So for down here in the green for proficiency, our white kids and multiracial kids are pretty much at the highest percent range for our proficient learners. So we have multiracial first, then we have white, and then we have our English language learners, then we have our Hispanics, and then we have our Asian Pacific Islanders, and then we have our students with disability, and our economically disadvantages come last. For our distinguished learners, which is in the purple, we have our Asian Pacific Islanders that have a higher percentage. Then we have our economically disadvantaged, and then we have our Hispanic, and then our multiracial, and then our whites, and then we have our English language learners, and our students with disability comes last. For our students that are developing learners, We have students with disabilities, students that are developing learners, that has a higher percentage. And then we have our economically disadvantaged students, and then our English language learners. And then we have our Hispanics, our white, and then we have our Asian Pacific Islanders and our multiracial, which they have about the same percentage. For our beginning learners, for the students that are learning at a beginning level, we have students with disabilities that are at a higher percentage. And then we have our Hispanics, our English language learners, our economically disadvantaged, our white students, and then our Asian Pacific Islanders. It was noted that African Americans had too few students that had a participation rate, and also our American Indian, Alaskan Native had NA participation rate. So now we move on to mathematics achievement levels, and we are going to discuss for our CCRPI achievement levels for mathematics. First, we're going to start with our distinguished learners, and our Asian Pacific Islanders were at the top of our percentage with distinguished learners. And then we have economically disadvantaged, multiracial, whites, and English language learners. And then we have our Hispanics, and then we have our students with disability. For our proficient learners, we have our multiracial that has a higher percentage. And then we have our white students. And then we have our English language learners. And then we have our Hispanics, our economically disadvantaged, our Asian/Pacific Islanders, and then our students with disability. For our developing learners, our students with disability have a higher percentage. And then we have our Hispanic students, our economically disadvantaged, our English language learners, our white students, our multiracial students, and our Asian Pacific students. And then for our beginning learners, we have students with disability, of course, comes with a higher percentage. And then we have our Asian/Pacific Islanders, and we have economically disadvantaged, our English language learners, our white students, and then multiracial and Hispanic. And these are the scores for mathematics. These are our science scores. And I'm going to note first that all other states that were there, they had too few students participation rates. So right here for science, we have our white students and our Asian Pacific Islanders. And for our distinguished learners, they scored at a 44. Our Asian Pacific Islanders scored at a 44.83%, and our white scored at a 27.96%. For our proficient learners, our white students score higher than our distinguished learners, which was at 53%, and our proficient score for our Asian Pacific Islanders, they scored at a 37.93%. For our developing learners, the white students scored a 15%, and our Asian/Pacific Islanders scored 13.79%. And for our beginning learners, we had whites at a 4%, and beginning learners for Asian/Pacific Islanders, they scored at a 3.45%. For our social studies scores for our CCRPI achievement levels, we have white and we have Asian/Pacific Islanders. Our Asian Pacific Islanders for distinguished learners scored at a 37.93%, which was higher than white. They scored at 25.81%. For proficient learners, they both scored at a 41%, but Asian/Pacific Islanders was a little bit more higher. Our developing learners, we had 29% white and 17.24% for Asian/Pacific Islanders. And for beginning learners, we had 4% and we had 3.45%. And all other states that there were too few students participation rate. So pretty much since Crab Apple Crossing is majority white or Asian/Pacific Islanders,